Preschooler's physical development. The preschool years is also known as the years before formal schooling begins. It covers at age 3 to 5 years old. At this stage, the child achieves several milestones in life, which also serve as basic foundation of learning and development. So, mao ni ang stage where ang mama or teacher is ginatuluan ng mga bata og mga basic skills or information where it helps them in their formal schooling like drawing and writing. And also in this stage, the child achieves several milestones or mga experience in life which also serve as basic foundation of learning and development. So in this stage, the child achieves several experience which helps them in the near future. And also if you are a preschooler teacher, you need to be knowledgeable enough and skillful enough to handle in this stage. It is because the child in this stage is very active, hyper, or significant changes in physical growth. Observed from the picture, these are the physical growth of preschooler. At this stage, preschoolers move from the remaining baby-like features toward a more slender appearance of a child. The trunks, arms, and legs become longer. So in this stage, taas na ilang kamot og legs. Dili na sila ni baby-like, kundi toddler or kid na sila ni. The child about this age has its center of gravity at the lower level right at the belly button, which makes it easier for them to balance themselves. So in this stage, the child is already know how to balance paspas sila mulakaw o at this stage of around 5 to 6 years, it is the best time to learn skills which requires balance such as biking and skating. So in this stage, kabalo sila mo bike and skating. Ang dili na pod na stage is the best time na tuluan sila mo inani na skills. It is because it helps them in the near future. Motor development. So what is gross motor development? So refers to acquiring skills that involve the large muscle. It is divided into 3 categories: locomotor, non-locomotor, and manipulative skills. Locomotor skills are those that involve going from one place to another. Example, walking, running, climbing, skipping, and hopping. Non-locomotor ones are those where the child stays in place. Example, bending, stretching, turning, and swaying. Manipulative skills are those that involve projecting and receiving objects. Example, throwing, striking, bouncing, catching, and dribbling. So it is expected that in this stage, the preschooler knows how to manipulate things, like they know how to dribble or catching a ball. Development refers to acquiring the ability to use the smaller muscles in the arms, hands, and fingers purposefully. So example ani is drawing o kanang magpatong og blocks, which is iyang gigamit kay kamot and small fingers. So mao na siya ang fine motor skills. And also in these skills, it also helps the child to get exercise and have physical activity, which is very important for healthy lifestyle. It also develop their skills and help the child ability to do more complex skills in the future, like inigdako nila kabalo na sila mo dula og volleyball, basketball, or soccer. It also involves the use of a small muscle to control the hands and fingers. It helps them to perform an important tasks like they know how to feed themselves and writing.
Scholar artistic development. Preschooler years has an interest to draw and make other forms of artistic expressions. So we have 3 stages of drawing in early childhood that explained by Victor Cohenfeld. And the first is scribbling stage. In this stage, the preschooler or the children will be able to draw the lines, shapes, and able to name his or her drawing. Second, pre-schematic stage. In this stage, the children or the preschooler will be able to draw the parts of the body with basic elements, which is the arms, legs, hands, eyes, and even facial features. The third is schematic stage. The children will be able to draw the trees, houses, sand, and sky for what they see or what they saw on the surrounding. Fine motor skills. In 36 to 48 months, purposefully copies diagonal lines, copies square, copies as triangle, and this belong also to the scribbling stages of the preschooler. Also, the 49 to 60 months draws a human figure, head, eyes, mouth, trunk, legs, etc. And copies a simple pattern of different basic shapes. This belong to the pre-schematic stages. Also, we have personal care and hygiene or self-help skill for a preschooler or a children. 36 to 48 months, both on sex independently without being told for the children, and 49 to 60 months, prepare own food, and the children will be able to prepare their own food without being told, and brushes teeth after meal, wipes or cleans him or herself after a bowel movement. They can independently prepare their own action through with these cures. Preschoolers, nutrition and sleep. It is very important to scholars to have proper nutrition, which is we have to encourage preschooler to eat fruits, vegetables every day, so that they can actually have a active in learning when it comes to the study.
Cognitive development of the preschoolers. Early childhood or preschool age is just one stage of childhood. Preschoolers want to learn how things work and they learn best through playing. So ang preschoolers gusto makatuon kung unsaon pag-work sa isa ka butang o makatuon pa silang ayo pamaagi sa pagdula nila anak nga butang. Stages of Piaget, pre-operational tasks, namely symbolic substage and intuitive substage. Symbolic stage ages 2 to 4. Preschool children show progress in their cognitive abilities by being able to draw objects that are not present, by the dramatic increase in their language and make-believe playing. So preschool, nagpakita sa ilang pagkuswag, sa ilang mga abilidad, sa paghuna-una, pinaagi sa pagdrawing o mga butang na wala diha, pinaagi sa ilang pinulungan o paghimong pagtuo sa pagdula. So for example, is children playing in the dirt to make food. This stage ages 4 to 7. Preschool children begin to use primitive reasoning and ask litany of questions. So, dili na mag-start ang primitive na pamatarungan sa isa ka preschool o mangtanag na sila og litany nga mga pangutana. So, for example, a first grader will ask, what is the green thing in the spaghetti? Why is it there? Why does it taste like that? And on and on. Age of 2, the emergence of language demonstrates that children have acquired the ability to think about something without object being present.
So we have the young children's theory of mind. So theory of mind refers to individuals' thoughts about how mental process works. So we have two. So first, children become aware to their emotion and mental state. So if they feel happy, if they feel sad, if they feel angry towards the other person or other things, they know what it is because they are aware to their own feelings and emotions. So second, ability to remember, to improve and reflect their own actions. If they know or they feel they did something wrong towards the other person or other things, they reflect their own actions so that till next time they have an improvement on how to do it better. So we have language and social interaction. So we have scaffolding. So we already know what is scaffolding means. So scaffolding means supporting the learner's development and providing support structures to get to the next stage. So it is applicable to the teachers because as a teacher, we are here to guide our learners how to do it, some certain activities, so we can help it so that they know and they can learn something new so that they can apply it to themselves. So in connected to this concept, we have zone of proximal development. So we have Vygotsky and Piaget. So Vygotsky believed that young children use language both to communicate socially and to plan, guide, and monitor their behavior in a self-regulatory fashion called inner speech and private speech. But in for Piaget, private speech to egocentric and immature act. But for Vygotsky, it is an important tool of thought during early childhood. Children must use language to communicate with others before they can focus on their own thoughts.
The young children's story of mind. Story of mind refers to the individual's thoughts how about mental processes work. By the age of 2 to 3, the child becomes aware that the mind exists. And also it includes awareness of one's own thoughts, processes, social cognition, understanding that people can hold false belief, ability to deceive, to distinguish appearance from reality, and ability to distinguish fantasy from reality. A quick look of what preschoolers can do. First is receptive language. In 3 to 5 years old, a child can speak in simple sentences and also talks about an event and is understood. And also uses proposition, uses plurals and past tense. Next is pre-math, matching standards 1.1. The child is able to match identical objects with 2 attributes, color and shape, and also recognize familiar logos like McDonald's or Coke, and also recognize signs like female and male restrooms or stop and go, etc. Next is pre-reading and pre-math, copying letters and numbers. Standards 1.2, the child is able to print uppercase letters with model with some reversals. And also at the age of 5 to 6, the child can print uppercase letters without a model and with no reversals. Next is the domain, cognitive development, attention and activity level. In 4 to 5 years old, a child can sustain attention and concentration on a tabletop activity for 15 to 20 minutes and also can work on a school assignments with minimal supervision. In 5 to 6 years old, the child can work on a school assignments independently. Next is high order mental abilities or the concept information. At the age of 2 to 3, the child knows the difference between a recent event and one that happened a long time ago. And also at the age of 3 to 4 years old, a child can tell which is the better or the nicer of the two items based on his or her criteria. Next is high order mental abilities, the cause and effect relationship. In 3 to 4 years old, a child can understand reasons behind rules and practices in school, and also understand reasons behind the rules and practices in the community, like those pertaining to sanitation, environmental preservation, etc. Next is memory, the episodic memory. In 2 to 3 years old, the child can talk about things that happened during a particular event that occurred some time back. Next, memory for concept-based knowledge, semantic memory. In 3 to 4 years old, a child can repeat 5 to 7 word sentences correctly. In 4 to 5 years old, a child can recite the days of the week with some errors. And also, in 5 to 6 years old, a child can recite the days of the week with no errors and can recite the months of the year with some errors. Next is higher order mental abilities or logical reasoning. At the age of 3 to 4 years old, a child can tell what is silly or wrong with absurd picture or sense. Also release experience in sequence or as this happened. At the age of 4 to 5 years old, a child knows that certain elements remain the same even if their position changes, like 2 plus 3 and 3 plus 2 is equal to 5. Next is higher order mental abilities, the planning and organizing. At the age of 3 to 4 years old, a child can dress following an organizing sequence. A child can bat following an organized sequence. At the age of 4 to 5 years old, a child can plan how he or she will carry out an activity without adult guidance. Next is high order mental abilities or creative thoughts. At the age of 3 to 4 years old, a child can make a pun or joke and also create some dance moves, creates lyrics of songs using familiar melody. Also, at the age of 4 to 5 years old, a child can draw things or scenes from experience but with no actual model or references. And 5 to 6 years old, a child can draw or paint things that do not exist in real life, like fantasy or imagination. Next, and the last preschoolers can do, the higher order mental abilities, the cognitive flexibility. In 2 to 3 years old, a child can modify actions based on new experience, like change block structure that falls, and also explore alternative solution to a problem and selects one option. And also, a child is able to shift activities without much fuss, and also is able to know when topic of conversation has changed and adjust accordingly.
The role of caregivers in the cognitive development of preschoolers. Learning about how preschoolers think and learn, one will realize that parents and teachers can do a lot either to help preschoolers develop their cognitive skills or impede them. There are teaching nga makataot and there are teaching nga makaayo. For example, the adults thinks that preschoolers must prepare to pass exams for elementary school, so they harass or ilahang pugson ang bata, ang preschooler, o pa-study, kasabaan pag dili mag-study. Then, it will result that preschoolers will be stressed. Mas-stress ang bata or dili baka di na mosulod og eskwelahan kay gipugos og pa-study. These are some appropriate practices that help develop the cognitive skills for 3 years old. Reading with them before matulog, imuha silang basahan og story, or sa eskwelahan magbasa mo og story, set toys that get together, mga puzzle books, puzzle format, then simple rhythm instruments. Mga pwede ra nimo gamiton ang mga shoebox para imuhang itap na tingog, clap hands, or kani example sa picture xylophone, di ba, para mutingog man na siya, or kini bakahanan na ay music nga ilahang madunggan. And these are appropriate practice of cognitive skills for a 4-year-old. 4-year-old children still have fairly short concentration, so expect your child will get bored of if activity goes for too long. So ang bata dili kaya magstay ana sa 4 years old. At 4-year-old age, they start to ask tricky questions. For example, where do babies come from? Or topics like sexuality, death, news, and stories. These are some examples. They have interest in writing, sorting things, and counting, and teaching them numbers. Magbasa-basa po ang bata, magazines, mails, or anything na makita niya sa dalan ng mga billboard yan ang basahon, or mga simple signs nga mga mabasa niya, mga sign nga mabasa niya. Or ipatabang-tabang na po nimog sugod ang bata sa gardening, like, kuan lagyuta, then mag-water og plants. These are practices for 5 years old. At 5 years old, child will probably sit through a whole game or finish a whole puzzle book. Child brings new challenge of playing fair and learning to lose gracefully. For example, dinhi, ang bata magbuhat na og thank you notes for 5 years old. Then, setting the table, ipatabang-tabang na nimo siya og set sa table. Ang spoon, ang kutsara, ang tinidor, baso, o nga ay mga kuan diha, bowl, para sa imong sabaw. Then, magtell na pud kag sugod og stories. Padayunon nimo nga magsige ka og tell of stories.
Socio-emotional development of the preschooler. Socio-emotional development is crucial in the preschool years. We hear a lot of parents and teachers and preschool administrators say that attending preschool is more for socializations than for formal academic learning. When we say socialization is makahalubelo sila, the children encountered many people. For example, a new teachers, a new schoolmates and classmates, or they meet a new friends. And also, there is a wisdom in this. During the preschool years, children learn about their ever-widening environment and now discover the new rules outside their home. Entails taking turns into a relationship with others, self-awareness, emotional regulations, and become independence. Ideas on preschoolers' socio-emotional development, but I discuss only 1 to 4 because my co-members will continue it discussing to you. One is preschooler initiative. We already know about initiative in the theory of Erik Erikson. The task is to learn initiative without too much guilt. And also, this is a time for play, not for formal education. And we know that initiative is the attempt to make that non-reality a reality. Erikson's view of initiative portrays the emotional and social changes that happen during the preschool years. Preschoolers deal with the psychological conflict of initiative versus guilt. Erikson believed that healthy preschoolers develop initiative, the tendency of preschoolers to want to take action and assert themselves. They will learn to create, invent, take risks, and engage in lively and imaginative activities with peers. I have here a chart that you can see the children na sila gibuhat, which is meant to create na nakipag-socialize with other people. When parents, teachers, and other adults or the caregivers support these teams and provide a stimulating environment, the preschooler's sense of initiative will grow. But on the other hand, if the adults show overprotection, extreme restriction, and criticism, the preschooler will develop guilt. This is a really sad because childhood years should be happy years because it's time to play. No, dili pa kay na sila seryoso for the formal education. One poster says that you don't have to hit to hurt. And the message emphasizes that even the things we say and the way we deal with preschoolers can already hurt them at these vulnerable stages. And also, preschoolers will develop a healthy sense of initiative in an affirming, encouraging, and stimulating environment. Number 2 is self-concept and the preschoolers. By the end of the childhood, preschoolers come out with a clear sense that they are separate and distinct person. Self-concept refers to the way one sees himself, a general view about one's abilities, strength, and weaknesses. So, everyone have abilities, strength, and weaknesses. Ang self-concept is general view, no? General view of the individual person. The preschooler's self-concept mainly focuses on observable characteristics and his or her usual beliefs, emotions, and attitudes. Also, the self-concept focuses observable characteristics for your belief, emotions, and attitudes. And also, it can influence to our environment, to our family, kung ano sa ang paglantaw sa tuang family sa tua, sa tuang friends, and so on. Of course, there are important aspects of self-concept is self-esteem, which specifically refers to one's judgments about one's worth. No, when we say preschoolers is unnaturally positive, they are confident to try again even if they don't succeed with something, even though they cannot succeed this task, these activities, but they try. They are confident to try. I have here a chart nga, kaya ko to. No, the preschoolers say that, I can do it or kaya ko to. And also, the another example is, ako lang nagsuot ng shoes ko or I wore my shoes all by myself. And other example is, I wear my shirts all by myself. No, she can do it or he can do it. And also, preschoolers need a lot of patience and encouragements from adults, especially to your family, because dira gid ang mag-una, no, ang family good. You need to encourage your child or to be patient of it. Number 3 is environmental factors and gender in the preschooler's socio-emotional development. As the preschooler's ability to create schemas develop, they become capable of gender typing, the process of forming gender rules, gender-based preferences, and behaviors accepted by society. They come to form gender stereotype. Preschoolers begin to associate with certain things like toys, tools, games, clothes, jobs, colors, or even actions or behaviors as being only for boys or only for girls. At this time, the children views oneself as a being masculine or feminine. Differences in parental expectations and behavior towards daughters and sons affect gender and typing and gender identity. More often, boys are expected to show more emotional control and be more competitive, while girls are expected to be warm and soft and demure. And also, parents expect the children to play with toys that are right for their gender. For example, if you are a female, usually ginabay sa imong mama is mga dolls. If you are male, usually ginabay is mga ball. Number 4 is parting stages of play. What's the main agenda of the preschool years? Play has a social dimensions. As the preschoolers develops, social interaction with playmates increase. In 1930, Meldrin Partin studied on children's play behavior which led to parting stages of play. And these stages describe the play development of children and the gradual increases of social interaction as they grow through these stages. 6 parting stages of play. 1. Unoccupied. 2. Onlooker. 3. Solitary play. 4. Parallel play. 5. Associative play. And 6. Cooperative play. 1 is unoccupied. It can be observed from the earliest month in life. It is defined as sensory activities that lack focus or narrative. The child appears not to be playing but direct his attention on anything that interests him. Unoccupied play looks like babies or young children exploring materials around them without any sort of organization. This stage allows children to practice manipulating materials, mastering their self-control, and learning about how the world works. Two is onlooker. The child spends time watching others play. He may talk to them but does not enter into play with them. So look at their chart. No, Evan musturya siya sa iya ang ka-playmate but dili siya ma-enter o dula. The active part of their play is watching others. Sometimes it's easy to think children engaged in onlooker play might be lonely or scared to engage with other children, when in fact it is a very normal part of play development. Just as adults, people watch at the coffee shop. Children learn a lot by watching others. They learn about the social rules of play and relationship. They explore different ways of playing or using materials, and they learn about the world in general. Number 3 is solitary play. The child start to play on his own. He seems not to notice other children playing nearby. So, mag-inusara na siya og dula when we say she's starting to play with himself or herself. Adults might worry about children playing alone, but actually solitary play is very normal. When children engage in solitary play, they are able to explore freely, master new personal skills like new motor or cognitive skills, and prepare themselves to play with others. 4 is parallel play. The child plays with toys similar to those near him, but only plays beside and not with them. No interaction takes place. When we say parallel play, this occurs when children play next to each other. For example, two children may drive cars on the carpet next to each other, but their play does not actually overlap. Number 5 is associative play. This type of play signifies a shift in the child. Instead of being more focused on the activity or object involved in play, children begin to be more interested in other players. Associative plays allow children to begin practicing what they have observed through onlooker and parallel play. They can start to use their newfound social skills to engage with other children or adults during an activity or explanations. But no task, assignments, rules, or organizations are agreed upon. Lastly, number 6, cooperative. This is play categorized by cooperative efforts between players. Children might adopt group goals, establish rules for play. It's important to remember cooperation is an advanced skill and can be very difficult for young children. Cooperative play often involves a lot of conflict. This is normal. It is sometimes difficult for young children to share, take turns, and negotiate control in these types of play scenarios. You can support children engage in cooperative play by staying close and helping them learn healthy expressions of emotion and teach them problem-solving skills. And I have here a summary of types of play for children. I have here unoccupied. Always remember, unoccupied is nag-observe pa siya. Ang solitary is nagplay siya by herself or himself. An onlooker is watching for others playing even though nga mag-istoryahan na sila but dili siya ma-enter o play. Ang parallel play is between the two person even though nga same sila ginabuhat but dili sila mag-overlap sa isa't isa. And when we say associative is playing without rules or without task or assignment nga gina-agree. And lastly, cooperative is naa kay rules nga agree mo ang tanan, and also more on conflict gid ni siya because it is a normal no when a children have when a children na ay dili masabtan sa isa't isa, it is a normal for the children.
Caregiving style. Caregiving style affect the social-emotional development of the child. Social, it means how the child will be able to establish meaningful relationship towards other people, and emotional, how the child will be able to cope or express his or her feelings and emotions. So the caregivers here refers to the teachers, parents, or any adults that cares for the child. Diana Baumrind, a clinical and developmental psychologist, coined the following caregiving style: the authoritative, authoritarian, and permissive or indulgent. But later on, Macoby and Martin added the uninvolved or neglectful style. So responsiveness and demandingness, these two determines how good you are as a caregiver or how effective your caregiving style is. So responsiveness, it refers to the caregiver's patience, understanding, and how willing they are, how patient they are with the child's concerns and questions. Whereas the demandingness is how the caregiver control, discipline, set expectations or standards, and confront the child. The first caregiving style is authoritative. It is high demandingness and high responsiveness. It is a very effective caregiving style because this type of style is non-toxic. It does not pressure the child. It put realistic expectation towards the child. It is more warm and nurturing. And in terms of discipline, they approach more on teaching rather than in
punishing, and they know when or where their kids needed them the most, and they always monitor their child in a way that it is not too tolerant, not too strict. So, in result, the preschoolers feel safe, secure, more responsible, has good self-control, realistic view of oneself, and build capacity for empathy. It is because their parents give proper assistance to them, and their parents are very open to communicate with the child, and they always remind the child consistently what is wrong and what is right. The second caregiving style is the authoritarian. It is high demandingness and low responsiveness. It is not that good type of caregiving style because authoritarian style is a very strict type of caregiving style. It is very toxic. It pressures the child in a sense that if the child does not reach their expectations, then they make the child feel useless, feel unlovable, feel sorry about themselves. And sometimes they are very manipulative towards the child. They do not give proper assistance to the child. They are just always putting expectation and pressure towards the child. So, in result, the child has aggressive behavior, brings about poor self-control and poor self-esteem, knowing that their parents are the first one nga ilang basher if every time na masayop sila, ang ilang parents ang ilang number one nga makontra, and they become aggressive because of the pressure that the parents are putting to the child. So, dapat first ko, dapat ma-3 stars ko, so they are not very welcoming to other people because they really want to impress their parents in a very, very unhealthy way. Next style is the permissive. So permissive caregiving style, it is low demandingness and high responsiveness. It is not too effective caregiving style also because they are spoiling their child. Ihatag sa parents na gusto sa bata. Kung unsay gusto sa bata, mao'y matuman. So they do not give clear rules to the child. Kung unsay gusto buhaton sa bata, unsay gusto paliton, ihatag tanan. Nasobraan na pagkapalangga ang bata, and also because they are lacking confidence to influence their child, maybe because they have a lot of problems. So it is child-driven type of caregiving style. So in result, the child will become spoiled siya. Also, rebellious, or every time dili mahatag ang iyang gusto, mag-wild na, maulit na. Every time na dili ni paliton, ang madulaan, maulit na. Because gianad sa parents, ihatag ang tanan, ginaspoiled tanan, and naanad po ang child nga ang bata na noon ang ga-under sa iyang parents. And if it is extreme, the child may also have attachment problems, delayed cognitive development, poor social and emotional skills, delinquent behavior later in adolescence. So, attachment problems because naanad sila nga sila free silang buhaton. So, sooner or later, if naanay sila magbawal, maulit sila, kaya di man si mama o si papa, manong gabutan ko ninyo, nasobraan sila sa freedom. Delayed po nilang cognitive development, it is because wala kayo proper assistance and poor social and emotional skills. May mga bata nga mga spoiled brat, so mostly na sila is maldita towards other people. Sobrang ka narcissist. The last caregiving style is the negligent, low demandingness and low responsiveness. It is a very worst type of caregiving style because the parents or the teachers in this type of caregiving style are very abaya. They don't involve themselves to the child. Kapasagdan na nila yung child. Kung sa parents, feeling dalaga ulit ako ang ilang mama because wala sila paki silang anak. Feeling nila wala sila anak. Dili nila kakahatag ang needs. Dili nila gihatag ang needs. And whatever happened to the child, wala sila pakialam. Wala sila labot sa bata. Dili sila assist. Kahatag o proper assistance sa bata. Dili nila ihatag ang needs sa bata. Pasagdan na nila ang bata. And sa teachers po, murarag wala, pasagdaan ng mga bata, murag wala rin paki, bahalag bang kinaunsa ng bata, gubot na kayo, wala sila paki. So, this is the summarization. So, the first one is the authoritative, next is authoritarian, third is permissive, and fourth is neglectful. So, that's all. Thank you for listening.